guys, today I'm going to be taking you through my new song, Take Me Away, with Casey Cook. It's going to be out on Lost in Dreams the 27th, so make sure you check it out once it drops. There's a lot of things that I like about this song, but my absolute favorite thing is this guy right here. That's just Casey doing a little riff, which I loved, and it gave me like Dune vibes. So I layered this Duke on top of it, and I just love the way they sound together. And so, yeah, I sprinkled that throughout the song. I specifically love it right here. It just takes you into the next section in just a beautiful way. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite part of the song. It's little stuff like that that really gets my pee hard, you know? But this is the main drop synth, this little respace right here. It's just two oscillators. One is pitched 2 octaves down, one is an octave up, but it's +4 semitones, which is a major third. And I love the way that sounds. Like I do that in chords, I do that in pretty much anything. And then also something to note is I'm running oscillator B through the filter, only oscillator B, and I'm key tracking the filter so that wherever this resonance goes, it's gonna bump that note. And I tuned it with the cutoff to only bump the third. Then I'm automating some notch filters just to give it more movement. And yeah, some convolution reverb to give it some more space. So, I mean, other than that, in the drop, there's really not much else going on. There's the main lead, which comes from the Prophet. This preset, I tweaked it a little bit, but I wanted something that kind of sounded like a horn, something with that kind of tone. And then I gave it a ton of reverb, a ton of delay before the reverb as a send. So you have the dry signal and the reverb and delay. Very pretty sound in my opinion. This is what it sounds like with nothing. Very derpy, you know, but then you put hella reverb on it and layer it with a aggressive bass underneath it, and you get this. I guess another important thing to note about this song would be these ARPs that I have going throughout. We got 2 of them. These are just things I made in Serum. Then we have this guitar ARP right here. Very interesting sound, like, I don't know, just kind of adds a vibe. Kind of a distorted, scary vibe. Yeah, and then there's this pad that I just found on Splice. I really like starting songs like that, by the way, like just kind of finding a pad under presets on Splice, and then I just go through them and then find one that like kind of sets the mood that I want to start the song in. But yeah, I found this one. Then I just duplicated that because I needed to pitch bend it. Fire. Let's see. Other than that, build snare. I mean, I'm not going to go through every single thing here because it's all just normal. Little impacts here and there. Crash. More impacts. A little siren. Just simple stuff, you know? Something I will talk about though that is also one of my favorite parts of this song is this hat loop. This is what it sounds like without anything on it. It's cool, but I added a resonator to resonate at the root note, which is F, which gives it a little bit more tonality. Then I also did the exact same thing with a corpus, and now it sounds like this. Just a little bit more tonal, but it's stuff like that for hats I feel like really makes or breaks the song. In my opinion, everyone says the kick is the most important thing, which it is, but like for me, it's hats and snares and like percussions and stuff. If those are sounding good, they'll really take your drums to the next level. These are what the hats sound like. Just a couple loops that I liked, cut them up, made sure they sounded good. This is kind of what I'm talking about. If you do stuff like this to your hats, like just some random panning left and right, sometimes I'll also go in here and do something like that, that it's a 16th notes, to make them more punchy, you know? But yeah, it's stuff like that. Like, you know, drag in a hat loop that you like, but don't just call it quits there, because if it still doesn't hit right, there's a ton of stuff you could do to make it hit right. Yeah, other than that, kick. Just a top kick and a punchy kick. But something to know also is that I like to group my kick with my bass because you can put like stuff like saturators on the group and glue them together. But also because I just like being able to solo them by themselves, just right up here with this one little button, and be able to listen to them, put like monitoring plugins on top of it, you know, and just kind of see how they're interacting with each other. And it's also good because then you could sidechain your bass individually with Kickstart and just route it to your kick. And then you could see as you play, my light just died. You can see as you play the kick and the bass, like what they look like. And you can see for the most part that they are lining up in phases and they're never really overlapping too much, but they're also, there's never too big of a gap between the bass and the kick. I feel like that's just like the best way to get a clean kick and bass. But yeah, I think I already went over this, but this is my favorite thing of all time right here. Super sick, man. I love layering orchestral things with like not orchestral things. So like strings with like a synth lead or flute or something like that with a vocal, and then just distorting them together and, you know, doing a ton of cool stuff to them. It's just like, it's cool. Like it's not just another Serum sound, you know, it's like a unique sound that even I couldn't recreate probably if I tried. So it makes your sound unique. But yeah, shout out Casey. She nailed this vocal. Exactly what I wanted. I will say that the song started with me actually creating a vocal with Synthesizer V, which is a plugin where it loads up a piano roll for you and you can put in the notes and then you can put in the lyrics and you can affect how it sings it and all this stuff. And that's how this top line started, was me just messing around in there. I had already made the drop and like the intro and everything. And so I was like, all right, this needs a vocal. I want something that goes like, take me away. And so I did it and it actually turned out pretty good. This is what it sounded like originally. Right? You know, cool, and got the concept kind of there, but Casey absolutely took it to the next level because now so much better, right? Obviously, she has an amazing voice. But yeah, another thing about this song though is they sent me a ton of ad-libs, which is beautiful because I was able to take one of them. I love this melody, but it's a little bit slow paced, right? So I wanted something to counteract that a little bit, that had a little bit of like rhythm and speed to it. And so she had an ad-lib that says, do you want to get lost? And so I just kind of chopped it up, melodined it a bit, messed with the notes and stuff. And so I added this counter vocal to kind of keep everything moving, especially in the second half. And I really love that. That's also one of my favorite things about the song, because if you listen, it's like, do you want to get lost? Do you want to get lost with me? And then she's up here. She's like, I want to get lost with you. So take me away. And it just brings it all together, you know? I think that's so cool. I love it when songs just talk to each other, you know? Like she's talking to another element, which is talking to the instruments and stuff. That's the type of stuff that makes me do this in the first place. I almost forgot. There is, a whole ass other section to this. Originally, it literally just kind of repeated, but I wanted it to change, especially once I got the vocal and she kind of started doing this. Follow the echo now. I'm like, that's great. So let me, make the instrumental a little bit more interesting. And so I added this plucky section, I guess you could call it. And I honestly think that this took the song to a whole other level, because you're kind of tired of everything that you've been hearing over here. And it's like, all right, let's, kind of switch it up, make it a little bit more interesting in the second half. There's 3 pluck layers to this main little pluck guy. Very simple. Saw, sine, noise. And then there's this guy, which this looks like I pretty much just started with the exact same sound. Like I duplicated it and then I turned this to a square and bumped up the voices just for some stereo. Then there's this dude, which Spire is sick for plucks, especially like pluck layers. I have these really cool preset packs. I just always go over here to synth or pluck or whatever, and they have a ton of nice presets in here. Shout out whoever made these. Then we got a pluck bass, which is an I Can Has Kick wavetable, which is perfect for these kind of basses because you could just like choose your tone. Then it's a sine wave being FM'd from that, which is an octave up and up 7. And then there's distortion, EQ, some disperser, and then some shaper box, which this is something I do a lot on things that I want to be more plucky. I will make an external instrument and send it to itself, right? And then set these to MIDI, and then now it will just trigger itself. So there's no latency, there's no nothing. So I'm boosting the drive a little bit, and then I am making it more punchy, envelopey. This is something I really do want to emphasize is this note right here. The D. We are in F minor, and D is not in the key of F minor. But what it is the major third of the bass note that I'm hitting here, which is this guy, right? Right? And something sound design wise that I love doing is where you have one oscillator that's 2 octaves down, and then the other oscillator is 2 octaves up, and +4, because just the way that those notes interact with each other, especially when you distort them together, is crazy. Like that's how like Supersonic was made by Skrillex and Noisia, you know, stuff like that. And I just love that tone. So I was just doing that. I was experimenting and it landed on this note and I'm like, yo, that's actually a sick note. Like it sounds good, even though it's not technically in the key. And I'm sure there's some like weird scale, but I've been looking and I don't know what scale it is, you know, I've been trying to find it. Who knows? It's F minor, you know, but then with an accidental. I think it's so cool. And it gives the song a vibe that just like if you were just in normal minor or normal major, it wouldn't be the same. But yeah, I mean, that's a main thing that I love about this song. It's a very unique song, in my opinion, especially for like, I've never made anything like it before. I'm very, very proud of it. Shout out Casey for nailing the vocal. Shout out Lost in Dreams for putting it out. And yeah, shout out you for listening to it. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.